now that Save Park Merced has gathered 20,000 signatures, will you redeem yourself and now side with the poor, renters, and seniors who will lose their homes under your plan?
Well, let me first say that I'm a tenant. I've been a tenant for the entire time I've been in San Francisco and have stood up for tenants time after time. I used to chair the board of an affordable housing organization that represented tenants. As an attorney, I also represented tenants. And I believe that the Park Merced project is the best thing for tenants as we move forward. This is a project that has provided lifelong leases to every tenant who lives currently in Park Merced, so that when they move to their new units, out of their deteriorating units, they will for the rest of their lives be able to live in Park Merced at rent control prices. The protections that we have in this agreement for tenants is stronger than any other development agreement that we've had in the city and county of San Francisco in our city's history. And so I actually think that if we don't do this project, these tenants will be facing significant increases in the costs of their rent because they're going to have to pay for future capital expenses. And the owner, if the owner were to continue to do what they've been doing already, they'll be selling off parcels, and these tenants will likely be facing evictions without the Park Merced project.
Okay, thank you. Leland, this one's for you. We were just talking about movies and videos. In past 8 years, Mission businesses have come a long way. Name specific things you would do to create jobs and business in the Mission, and specifically film production.
Well, one of the sad things about small businesses in San Francisco is that you're left to your own devices. You know, you've got to figure out how you're going to make ends meet. And if there are unfair competition, if there are unreasonable fees or taxes and so on, you're out there by yourself trying to figure out how you're going to make ends meet. I think that the city and county of San Francisco ought to create individuals that will work with you, not against you, to try to understand what your challenges are and get involved early on and try to solve those particular problems. I think that that's one of the ways to prevent a lot of the businesses, small businesses, from getting into the position of saying, enough is enough, I'm out of here. That you cannot allow to happen, just as we don't do that for individuals.
Maybe talk a little bit about the film production as well, too.
For me, we have provided tax credit, not only at the local level, but at the state level, to have more and more of our productions in San Francisco. What we ought to be doing is spending quite a bit of time. The Film Commission ought to be spending a lot of time trying to nurture and create even more opportunities, look at some of the talents down south and get them to come back up to San Francisco and continue to expand that particular kind of industry.
Great, thank you. Dennis, this one's to you. Let me, oh man, you know when the Trivial Pursuit and your friend has a super tough question, you're like, I don't know if you're gonna get this, but we'll try. All of you agree payroll reform is necessary. What are the obstacles and how will you stabilize the city budget, and especially considering the loss of redevelopment money? You want to read that again?
Yes.
Please. For me, myself as well. All of you agree payroll reform is necessary. What are the obstacles and how will you stabilize the city budget, and especially considering the loss of redevelopment money?
Okay. I think I get the question. All right. First of all, the obstacles to payroll reform, from my perspective, are political will. We saw what can happen when people come together and attempt to bring consensus. If you look at, I know David was involved, John was involved, I've been involved with pension reform and Mayor Lee, and he brought everybody to the table, and after a 6-month effort of business leaders, labor leaders, city leaders, there was a consensus proposal that was that was agreed to be put on the ballot. We need to do the same thing with payroll tax reform. It's about political will and bringing people together. With respect to budgetary things, I think we need to do a number of things. Number one, we have to go to zero-based budgeting to make sure that our expenditures are matching our priorities. Number two, we have to implement the reforms that I advocated in my nonprofit reform task force. recognize that we give $600 million away each and every year to nonprofits, but that doesn't mean that we cannot be better customers and they cannot be better providers to make sure that we are taking care of our most vulnerable, but at the same time are assuring that we're getting the efficiencies that we need to fully implement that. And with respect to redevelopment, I will say this, that I happen to believe if you look at redevelopment being economic engine here in the city and county of San Francisco, it is immediate stimulus that puts people to work and at the same time provides us with affordable housing money that we need to make sure we have a broad base, we provide broad base housing. So I think if we put all those things together, we can assure that we are putting San Francisco on a much better and more fiscally sustainable